ignoring her best friend. A recently surfaced clip from Vanity Fair's Twitter shows Kylie ignoring Hailey Bieber at the Oscars VF party after she initiated drama with Hailey towards Selena Gomez not even weeks prior. The three amigos, Kylie, Hailey, and Kendall Jenner, seemed to be hitting it up while waiting outside the venue, or more like Kendall and Hailey were chatting it up, because at the same time, Kylie appeared standoffish to the side, pretending Hailey does not exist. In fact, when the reality star's sister is continuously speaking to Hailey, Kylie is faced or turned in the opposite direction like an icebox, seeming as if she doesn't even know who Hailey is, and it's awkward for her to be standing in the other model's presence. It seems unfair of Kylie to calculatedly place herself into the messy mix of catty brow drama, only to leave all the backlash on Hailey's shoulders by pretending she does not exist. Of course, this came as a shock to internet users alike, as Kylie was the most involved in the reported beef, fully inserting herself into the middle via Instagram. But I guess that makes a bit more sense when looking at all the optics thus far. Before we jump into number 9, subscribe to Where Are They Now to stay on top of all the latest celebrity news and updates. In our 9th spot, Liar Liar. Apparently, on top of being an unloyal friend, Kylie also lied about being a self-made billionaire. Kylie's massive wealth, opportunity, and resources given based on her family name hardly count as being self-made, and it seems Forbes was on the same page because they were quick to expose the business mogul for exactly that. According to reports, Kylie allegedly sold off half of her cosmetics company to a massive business brand named Coty, securing a $1.2 billion deal that January. As for sources, this was one of the biggest celebrity cash outs in the history of Hollywood, but this lie would reveal a big exposure at the hands of Forbes itself, which stated the reality television star was exaggerating the income and size of her business. They informed fans that Kylie's cosmetics was a lot smaller than the Kardashian crew was leading the public to believe. Kylie clapped back in a series of seemingly angry tweets, claiming she never fibbed about her income nor asked for their title. So yeah, the sneaky nature of her and her brand publishing inaccurate numbers upset fans and the public greatly, which leads us right to our next point. In our 8th spot, Bad Business. Of course, Kylie is a busy celebrity. Between being a mom, a reality star, and a full-time businesswoman, she's always on the go, what anyone would describe as a boss. However, internet users and former employees have consistently alleged that Kylie is not as sweet and generous as she's branded on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, nor is she the greatest person to work for. Take for example that Kylie apparently does not pay her employees. Andre Tabia, a famous YouTube animator, was once told he couldn't get paid for his work with Kylie, but would get loads of exposure from her public brand. Assuming he was getting a major payout, meeting Kanye West, and taking part in a possible Keeping Up with the Kardashians appearance, Andre grew excited at the opportunity. But the animator grew disappointed when he inquired about the financial aspects of the job and was told, "We don't have a lot of budget to pay you, but Kylie has a lot of exposure." Even worse, said exposure was only referencing a small print rather than a shout out on Kylie's social media for actual recognition. People on the internet stated that because this was coming from a celebrity who makes millions of dollars, paying her employees in the form of exposure is shallow and morally wrong. Thankfully, Andre made the smart business move and declined Kylie's offer, but I can't help but think how big of a yikes this all still is. In our 7th spot, lifelong assistant quits. Now, social media influencer Victoria Villarreal Gamero worked for Kylie as her personal assistant from 2015 to 2019, but prior she also served as Kylie's executive house manager and Kris's former intern in 2014. This steady working transition obviously meant Victoria was well trusted in the Kardashian household, having taken in years of the family's deepest, darkest secrets and dirt. So why did she quit in 2019? Well, according to rumors, working for Kylie is secondhand to a real-life nightmare. Despite Victoria publicly shutting down claims of her leaving to broaden her online presence, fans couldn't help but wonder why the two decided to terminate their professional working relationship to remain friends. She was a witness to Kylie's secret birth with Stormi and was there when the reality star launched her lip kit line. So wouldn't she have stuck around a bit longer? Maybe not. Because supposedly Kylie is over the top, and this isn't just about the time Kylie forced Victoria to ask Kris to change her flight for her, even though Victoria looked visibly scared to do so. Surely asking Kylie's mother to do stuff for her was not in Victoria's resume skills, right? In our 6th spot, Kylie's cosmetic scam. Kylie reportedly does not treat her workers fairly and puts them at risk, including not providing enough safety equipment while they work with dangerously harsh chemicals all day, using a very limited budget to keep her workers workers safe and protected, as well as sus minimal pay in general. This was revealed through Radar Online, which received their information from a former Kyco's worker. This piece was especially notable given Kylie uploaded a series of snaps at the time of her wearing a hairnet, goggles, and a lab coat to take numerous glam selfies in the factory, while her workers were allegedly behind the scenes struggling. The tone-deaf nature of this apparently proved to fans that Kylie didn't take her boss position seriously and turned a blind eye to her workers' needs. And while branching out in more than one way to gain cash is commendable for the Kardashians, their shady practices have steeply caused a downward slope of accusations. Accusations which aren't limited to supposedly cutting corners, committing intellectual property theft, and making profits off of plagiarizing less fortunate entrepreneurs and artists to appease to their own businesses. Kylie's cosmetics line is just one of the many K-brands dragged over social media for seemingly repackaging older products and selling them as if they're new for ridiculously high prices, as well as ripping off other businesses to get ahead. With none of these incidents being isolated and the Kardashians being an image-based family, Kylie and co will continue to head down a spiraling path if they don't change their ways. In our fifth spot, uses fans for financial gain. When an article dropped about Kylie pushing a GoFundMe page on her Instagram for her former makeup artist's medical bills, netizens ripped Kylie a new one. Many people argued that she makes more than enough to pay off the hospital expenses herself, and yet there she was, asking fans to support her former employee with funds they probably didn't have, or even closely amassed to her own. This caused great upset as it seemed like another sneaky, underhanded way for Kylie to stay rich while squeezing money out of her fans who presumably make a whole lot less than she does, especially given the fact that she was listed as one of Forbes' 60th wealthiest women in the world at the time. This also lines up with the public opinion of Kylie hating her own supporters, only needing them to make her richer, while she snaps at them in public and disregards them as fools by lying to their faces, essentially. Kylie again tried to clear up the rumors by stating she wasn't trying to rob her fans and donated $5,000 herself, but social media users were not here for it, claiming that was literal pocket change for the star. In our fourth spot, celebrities can't stand her. Aside from T Swiftie, who's been besties with Selena, there are a few other Hollywood celebs who reportedly can't stand Kylie. A couple of years back, news outlets alleged that Demi Lovato despised Kylie and her sister. Multiple sources ran with the story upon claims that Demi felt the two amassed fame for nothing, basically tying their success into their family name. Of course, Demi quickly shut down these reported rumors, stating she never said those things. However, additional sources were quick to debunk Demi's denial. Alongside Demi and Taylor is Jaden Smith, whose sour 2014 breakup with Kylie reportedly caused a rift between them. Kylie reportedly ended their fling with someone she considered to be her favorite person in the world. Being 16 at the time, the model broke it off with the musician, who apparently moved on to a lookalike of Kylie 2 years later. And let's not even begin to describe Amber Rose's beef with Kylie for the mere fact that she was not of legal age when she dated Tyga, and how she supposedly snagged Tyga from Amber's good friend Blac Chyna. In our third spot, Fashion Nova fiasco. The company behind Kylie's clothing line resulted in her being massively called out for her alleged refusal to pay the workers who made the clothes for her lines. In this context, this obviously placed the workers in a position of endangerment, as they were left practically jobless with no income to support themselves and their families. During the height of unprecedented times, Fashion Nova asked hundreds of their employees in Los Angeles and Bangladesh, with no payment or promise of when they could return to work to make more. In response, angry fans flocked to Twitter to call the star out on her quote, cheap behavior, noting how Kylie was living large in her mansion-sized homes, while those working underprivileged jobs for a company she was connected to were without pay. Another fan even commented on Kylie's refusal to pay for her workers, and how this blew her mind since Kylie had been blessed with riches and lavish things her entire life, but yet was still so stingy. The public garnered a petition with thousands of signatures at the time, holding demands for Kylie and the company she endorsed to treat and pay the workers fairly, including protected contracts. Kylie supporters were quick to point out that Fashion Nova isn't exclusively Kylie's clothing brand, but these were refuted with even more claims of Kylie's cosmetics being horrid to work for as well, as mentioned prior. In our second spot, she stole her friend's men. Of course, we know from earlier that Kylie allegedly stole Tyga from socialite Blac Chyna and then dated him for 2 more years. But what about her beef with Selena, and how does Justin Bieber tie into that? Well, allegedly, Kylie was seeing Justin while he was still seeing Selena, which supposedly ended their friendship and caused division between all parties. This rumor has been a constant Hollywood topic, as it's trended over shock that Justin never addressed it. Therefore, with the supposed fact that Kylie and Justin were hooking up, Selena eventually dumped the Canadian singer for good, which apparently irritated Justin, as he and Kylie weren't supposed to be anything other than a quick fling. It's also stated in reports that Kylie and Justin happened after Selena and Justin had already separated. However, Justin apparently blames Kylie for why Selena no longer speaks to him. I don't even know where Hailey ties into this now, but it's messy all around. In our first spot, culture appropriation. The Kardashian Jenner crew have been called out endless times for reportedly appropriating culture, meaning they're benefiting from styles of the cultures they appropriate through profits and trends with no real recognition of where it derives from, even sometimes taking credits for things they didn't have any involvement in. And while Kylie is not excluded from this. In fact, other famous faces have called her out for this in the past, including Hunger Games actress Amanda Stenberg, who started up a social media storm when she commented on Kylie's then cornrows, famously using her Instagram page with her millions of followers to state she was disgusted by Kylie's rumored attempt to quote appropriate black features. Amanda finalized her comments by alleging Kylie managed to embrace black culture while failing to do anything for the black community in the process. Fans were divided at the time on the topic, and it's one Kylie hasn't truly lived down since.
Kicking off the list at 10, but first this. I think it's worth noting that of all the Kardashian Jenners, Kendall Jenner may actually be the most relatable. People like Kendall Jenner because she stands out from all of her sisters with her personality, interests, and the fact that she is pretty authentic for someone from this family. While Kris Jenner and her 3 daughters Kourtney, Kim, and Khloe are obsessed with Kim's exploding career on Keep Up with the Kardashians, Kendall is always focused on getting Angel, the neighborhood dog walker, to do all of her chores. Not exactly the greatest show, and some people might view Kendall as spoiled and bratty, but she obviously doesn't automatically buy into the family reality business. The arguments you'll most commonly hear, even on this list, are that she can be difficult, spoiled, and super entitled, but that just adds to her being a real person who has grown up with cameras in her face, with very little privacy, undeserved hate for even being a Kendall Jenner, and a mom who is determined to push all her children into the spotlight. We gotta remember, she's a real person. But, coming in at number 9, Blue. As much as the clan of celebrities loves getting new puppies, the pets of the Kardashian Jenners seem to always mysteriously disappear as time goes by. Kendall is not immune to this, but unfortunately for her, I guess, Kendall's neglectfulness in taking care of her Great Dane puppy Blue was actually captured on an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So we all get to see it straight up. In one episode, Kendall goes to Kim with her frustration over their mom, Kris, and the pup. She says to Kim, "Mom is being so annoying with Blue, she won't stop complaining about him," which, probably unexpectedly to Kendall, Kim shot back saying, "I'd be annoyed too, you're never home with a dog." When Kendall tried to defend herself that she was away for 2 weeks, Kim called her back out again and said, "You were gone for legit a month, and you left not even a dog, you left a horse." Outrageous. And wow, yeah, gotta agree with Kim on that one. That's a little bit of a yikes moment. No one really knows what happened to Blue either, but Kim once referred to the dog on Twitter in past tense, hinting that the dog is long gone, and now I'm really sad. Number 8, here's a tip, not. Back in 2014, a waitress accused Kendall Jenner of skipping out on a $60 bill and not leaving a tip either. Yikes. Pretty scummy thing to do, honestly. But wait, when the waitress allegedly chased after Kendall to get the money, Kendall turned around and threw cash in the woman's face and then laughed. Big yikes, extra scummy. This prompted the waitress to take to Twitter saying, "That horrible moment you chase a Kardashian down the street because she forgot to pay her bill to be thrown money in your face." Kendall did respond to the rumors by calling them ridiculous, and she then had her lawyers whip up a pretty drastic cease and desist letter to the server. Nothing says guilt like an instant cease and desist letter. That ain't all though, again. 3 years later, Kendall was also not a good patron at a bar in Brooklyn when a server posted a since deleted picture of a bill for just $24 that Kendall had signed but left the tip field blank. Kendall responded to this one as well, saying that she paid in cash, but the bar accused her of lying. Being rude to waitstaff and servers is just the worst of the worst. Don't ever be like this. Number 7, not one to be upstaged. Apparently, Kendall does not seem to enjoy being outed from the limelight in favor of another. We have a few different examples of this. Like, in one episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, she recedes the invitation given to Caitlyn Jenner for a Victoria's Secret fashion show because she didn't want to be upstaged. That's Caitlyn Jenner, her mom. But we've got another example. Scottish singer Talia Storm let us all know that back in 2016, Kendall tried to get her kicked out of a pool party. Talia, like so many others, took her problem to Twitter and tweeted out, quote, "It's a sad day when you upstage Kendall Jenner and she tries to get you thrown out the VIP area at next radio app pool party." According to Talia, Kendall got upset when Talia tried to chat up Hailey Baldwin, now Bieber, in the VIP section. Kendall asked a bouncer to escort Talia from the VIP area, but he refused. Kendall responded to the allegations by sharing a picture of Mean Girl's Karen rolling her eyes. Nice, very mature, very good. Number 6, out of touch. And now we have moved into the micro list within this list of all the ways that Kendall is a little out of touch. Starting back in 2013 when Kendall Jenner tweeted, quote, "Just wish things could be easier sometimes, man," which resulted in a hail of fire calling Kendall self-absorbed. One person took to Twitter saying, quote, "Oh shush, there are kids on earth abandoned and homeless who forcibly drink contaminated water because clean water isn't accessible. Oh yeah, not to mention cancer, famine, poverty, drought, disease, natural disasters, death. Humans are so self-involved. I'd like to thank my parents for providing me with a high HQ, and I'd like to thank my grams for encouraging me not to be a self-absorbed idiot." End quote. I think that might have gone a little overboard, but I think their heart was in the right place, so we can all see where they're coming from. Number 5, out of touch within her own industry. Moving on to Kendall's apparent out of touchness within the modeling industry, just recently she angered the entire industry when she slammed models for not being more selective with their jobs. She said during an interview to Love magazine, quote, "I was never one of those girls who would do like 30 shows a session or whatever the F those girls do." Russian model Daria Strokus, sorry if I mispronounced that, wasn't very happy about Kendall's words. She said, quote, "Whatever the F those girls do is do their very best to make their way up and try to make some money so that they can provide for themselves and their families." She wrote that in an Instagram story. So it's safe to say that Kendall just doesn't really get that, which I think can be attributed to a major thing about her, but we aren't quite there yet. Number 4, out of touch in a Pepsi commercial. Before we talk about why Kendall is out of touch, let's just talk about some of the advertising Kendall has done that further exemplifies how she just does not get it. You may remember a certain infamous Pepsi commercial that came out during a time when the Black Lives Matter movement was at its peak, and multiple fairly heated protests were going on all over the US. Fairly heated is a light way of putting it. The commercial in question seemed to try to capitalize on that incredibly contentious moment of history by having this incredibly wealthy and gorgeous model join a group of good-looking, relatively happy people marching with generic signs of peace, love, and join the conversation, and then after fist bumping with one of the smiling protesters, she walks up to the incredibly well-mannered front line to a police line of seemingly unarmed, unarmored officers and seems to put the whole issue to rest by offering one officer a Pepsi. Not only is the whole ad cringy as hell, but it devalues the whole movement, shows an inaccurate depiction of what was actually going on in America, and it suggested that all we have to do to end the conflict was have Kendall Jenner give people a Pepsi. But that's not all. There was also another ad for Kendall and her tequila company that seemed to appropriate Mexican culture. And in June 2017, the Jenner sisters unveiled a line of merchandise featuring their faces on logos and images of musical icons, including Notorious B.I.G., Tupac Shakur, The Doors, Pink Floyd, Metallica, Led Zeppelin, Kiss, and Black Sabbath. But this inspired a response from Biggie's mother that went, quote, "I am not sure who told Kylie Jenner and Kendall Jenner that they had the right to do this. The disrespect of these girls to not even reach out to me or anyone connected to the estate baffles me. I have no idea why they feel they can exploit the deaths of Tupac and my son, Christopher, to sell a t-shirt. This is disrespectful, disgusting, and exploitation at its worst." Number 3, full-on Nepo baby. Ending off the out-of-touch nature of Kendall part of this list with the explanation of probably why she's like that. It's because she's a nepotism baby. Isn't an excuse, but I think it explains why she's just so out of touch. Anyone who has watched an episode of America's Next Top Model knows that the industry isn't very glamorous. Models are packed into tiny apartments and work pretty much all day for very little money and food. Kendall, on the other hand, doesn't know what that life is like because she doesn't have to work very hard. Where other models have had to work from the actual ground up, Kendall is a Jenner, connected to one of the most popular families of this generation. She has had doors open for her based on that fact alone, that others will never have. Kendall is always canceling shows and dropping out at the last second. In the past, she skipped out of Milan Fashion Week and most recently missed all of Fashion Month. Other models who have been doing it way longer than Kendall has can't even afford to do that, or their career and livelihoods would be in jeopardy. Number 2. She's ungrateful. Despite being a nepo baby, Kendall likes to portray herself as the most independent of her family and often describes herself as a loner who likes to do her own thing. An ongoing storyline in Keeping Up with the Kardashians, at least during the early days of her modeling career, is Kendall fighting to step away from her family's shadow and build a success for herself, and that is totally commendable. The problem is, although she was able to become a successful model and businesswoman, she was only able to achieve that through her family and from having Kris Jenner as her mom/manager, aka she was able to receive it by being a nepo baby. Although she should be pretty thankful of this, she's constantly rude to them. In separate episodes of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, she has shown this. We got the thing with Caitlyn Jenner. She got angry when Kris said she was attending Paris Fashion Week, saying, quote, "Why are you following me everywhere?" I understand how having a family around all the time, especially a famous one, can be annoying, but they're her whole namesake and kind of the reason that she is as famous as she is. She should probably be just a little bit more, grateful. Finally though, in at number 1, Mean Girl. This point is kind of related to every other point I put on this list. While Kendall is very different from the rest of her family, one of the ways that shows itself is that she's kind of even more mean. There have been multiple instances of Kendall showing this on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, even if that's towards the rest of the clan. According to an experience described by YouTuber Annie Mishler, Kendall wasn't very friendly when the two hung out together a few years ago. Apparently, they were all hanging out, playing video games and eating goldfish, and Kendall was sitting on the bed the whole time alone, not saying a word. If someone asked her a question, she was like, quote, "No, ugh." She was described as snippy, so negative, so just rude. But that's not the only time. Whether you agree with the whole Hailey Bieber Selena Gomez drama or not, Kendall was somewhat roped into it too. Specifically in the TikTok that Hailey posted with Kendall and Justine Skye, in which fans called out the three for seeming to body shame Selena Gomez, getting them all the title of Mean Girls. But now you know why people seem to dislike Kendall Jenner.
In our 10th spot, infamous lip fillers. Most recently, Kylie dispelled the misconception surrounding her lip fillers and insisted she did so with no regrets. The beauty businesswoman set the record straight regarding what exact treatments she has and has not undergone during a feature for a April 2023 Homegirl cover story. The mom of two wants fans and arguably haters to understand, "I was always the most confident person in the room." For the outlet's Volume 9 Spring Summer launch, Kylie used the moment to open up about her life and clear the air about her up and down relationship with fillers, which started when the reality star was 17, and the many perceptions that came along with it. "I think a big misconception about me is that I've had so much surgery on my face and that I was some insecure person, and I really wasn't." Repeatedly in the past, Kylie has confirmed her insecurities about her lips and how she got over them by receiving injections, as revealed on a former kuwtk episode. And yet, Kylie was adamant about revealing her lack of confidence in her lips, not equating to her self-assurance elsewhere, noting, "Yeah, I love full lips and wanted full lips, but growing up, I was the girl performing for everyone." This also means that Kylie, whose famous pout eventually launched her multi-million-dollar cosmetics brand, certainly didn't regret undergoing her treatment. She further shared, "It was the best thing I've ever done. I always thought I was cute." And the same as self-security is something Kylie strives for her daughter Stormi to maintain. Kylie wants her and Travis Scott's 5-year-old creation to know she's perfect the way she is. Kylie also directly admitted she hopes her firstborn will always be confident in herself. While continuing her motherhood journey, Kylie has experienced a newfound appreciation for her physical traits from her children, referencing her and Travis's other 14-month-old told Son Air Webster when explaining, "I see my features in my daughter and son now. My daughter looks like me. I get to see my beauty in her, and it's made me love myself more for sure. Beauty is always changing for me." Before we jump into number 9, comment down below your favorite or least favorite Kardashian Jenner. In our 9th spot, spoiled teen. It's not much of a secret that Kylie was deemed a major brat growing up, as her life was documented fairly on thanks to her family's reality show. And Kylie seems to partially agree with this because she often speaks about her childhood as well. More recently, the reality star admitted she used to frequently swipe her mother Kris's car while still in her formative years. According to an insider, Kylie reminisced about driving up to Los Angeles and sneaking back into the house before her parents awoke. Eventually, Kris caught teenage Kylie one night and they held a huge meeting about her sneaky ways. During the Homegirls interview, Kylie revealed this act was her biggest teenage rebellion. As per the reality star, she recalled having been brought up in Calabasas as very crazy when considering the 45-minute car cruise to LA. One time in particular, Kylie recollected, "I used to take my mom's car into the city and I would make sure I was home before my parents woke up, which was at like 5:30 in the morning. I had to be home between 4 and 4:30 a.m. She continued by detailing, "My mom caught me once. She was like, 'I know you've been coming home every morning at 4 a.m. and this can never happen again.' That was probably as bad as it got." Even more, Kylie stated her confidence in her parents knowing all along that she was leaving without permission every night, finalizing, "We literally had to pass their bedroom to leave the house." In our 8th spot, fetishizer. The Kardashians' speculated obsession with black men and their alleged fetishization over them have been a tale as tall as time. Of course, with both Kylie's kids being mixed, she hasn't been able to escape these rumors either. Netizens even consider Kylie as someone who will stop at nothing to keep her children's bloodline mixed, with one even stating she's likely on a manhunt in search of her next famous African American partner. If we keep up this messianized theory though, it's likely she'd get back with an ex to make that happen rather than find someone completely new, right? Well, regardless, what Where Are They Now can consider facts are actual statements from Kylie's most recent Homegirls feature, where she revealed her openness to having more kids. The 25-year-old mom of 2 made an appearance on the outlet's cover this month and currently shares her first 2 children with rapper Travis Scott. When she was questioned about her potential plans for more kids during the accompanying interview, Kylie admitted, "I don't have a number in mind. Some women do, but I don't really have a plan." Kylie further divulged how she had always felt that way when it came down to letting the future play out as it should, saying, "I believe things are written for us. Whatever is gonna happen is gonna happen. But I also feel very in control of my life and my decisions." In our 7th spot, ableist. Good lord, does anyone remember when Kylie was featured in a wheelchair as an accompanied photoshoot prop and the internet lost its mind? If not, Kylie appeared in an interview magazine shoot and resultantly hopped into a wheelchair. Why? I guess it was the trending prop of the day, who actually knows? But shouts across the world of Kylie being an ableist were quick, as people rightfully pointed out how many beings deal with living in wheelchairs daily and how the accessibility product and someone's reality should not be used as fashion accessories. Of course, there was no apology from Kylie regarding the matter though. In response to the feature, Twitter user @JennaCivi released a tweet partially stating, "A wheelchair is not a prop." This singular post was merely a snippet of a massive extension of a Twitter thread exposing the Kardashian family for a list of controversial accusations against them. The initial tweet for the lengthy thread stated, "The Kardashian Jenners being problematic aside from the Taylor drama, a thread. Hashtag Kim Kardashian is over party. Hashtag Kendall Jenner is over party." This referenced the 2020 Kardashian Jenner is over social media movement. In our 6th spot, culture vulture. Another thing the Kardashian Jenners are constantly under fire for is culture appropriation, and you don't even need to be a fan to know this. At some point or another, and very much like her sisters, Kylie has been at the forefront of accusations of snubbing pieces of black culture without acknowledging where it originated from. This has been anything from wearing traditionally black hairstyles like cornrows and box braids to jacking clothing designs from black-owned brands divorced of context. For years, many fans and non-fans alike have released tweets, public statements, and comments regarding the Kardashians' culture appropriation, and Kylie is just as guilty as the rest of her siblings in that sense. In our 5th spot, self-made billionaire status. According to Forbes, Kylie and her momager Kris traveled to great lengths to ensure Kylie was branded the youngest self-made billionaire in Hollywood, as per her Kylie Cosmetics business. As a result, Forbes plastered her on their cover and she paved the way for a new legacy. However, amid the sale of the majority of the company's stakes going to makeup dominator Coty Prestige, the true value of Kylie's line emerged, and let's just say it weighs far, far less than what Kylie, her brand, and her mother initially claimed. Forbes was left behind furious at being deceived and automatically exposed Kylie for not being true to her word. In fact, they disclosed that Kylie was only worth $900 million. As huge of a success as this still is, the fraudulent news was still publicly humiliating enough for Kylie's feathers to get ruffled, going on a surprisingly heated Twitter rant. The world was not shy from casting its distasteful glances at the reality star for the deception. In our fourth spot, rich cheapskate. According to the internet, Kylie has never been much of a generous tipper. Given our last point of her lying about her annual funds, I guess it's not that surprising. However, it still serves as a shock with how much she makes regardless. At one point, TikTok was lit up with video accusations of stars and their lack of tipping, including Julia Carol Ann's, who uploaded a video giving ratings to celebrities she served during her time as a waitress. Julia claimed that while Kylie behaved well for a Hollywood customer, she only tipped $20 on a $500 bill. Restaurants in America are encouraged to leave tips ranging within 15 to 20%, so technically that should have amounted to approximately $100 on Kylie's check. Instead, her tip was reportedly a mere 4% of the overall total. With this and more, one would think Kylie would have figured out by now how to stop maxing out her chances of getting cancelled and realize how to avoid controversy this far into her career. But then again, she wouldn't be Kylie and we wouldn't still be making these lists without it, right? In our third spot, fake animal rights activist. In another problematic take, Kylie once stepped out in mink fur after she posted about Australia's then recent wildlife deaths. It's been insisted that Kylie must be the brains behind her social media because surely a manager would have informed her not to follow up an informative story about Australian wildlife being wiped out through bushfires with a then spanking new picture of her Louis Vuitton mink slippers. Fashion fur, mink included, has been surrounding the cruel trade world for a long while, and is something that is notably opposed by animal rights activists. So naturally, Kylie's concern for the animals in Australia came off as shallow and fake in the end. In our second spot, problematic makeup line. According to speculation, as usual, Kylie's makeup line has done a lot more bad than good. Based on unconfirmed word-of-the-mouth internet talk, Kylie's palettes were causing severe headaches. At the time, a minimum of 15 consumers filed complaints with the Better Business Bureau about the smells of chemicals and glue when they opened the brand's Royal Peach eyeshadow palettes, as per TMZ obtained documents. As a result, they claimed they began experiencing horrible headaches from the product, deeming the spray paint and paint thinner odors so bad that one had to toss the palette out of their house. But that wasn't even all. There were also disclosures of ants being found in packaging, the usage of unsanitary shop displays, and consumers receiving their packages shipped with missing products, allegedly. Not to mention the reports swirling around about Kylie's Cosmetics factory workers' inhumane working conditions, advertising children with cleft lip as quote monsters, and Kylie allegedly using her housekeeper as her swatch test dummy. Big yikes. In our first spot, making fun of Selena. Surely the internet is well aware of the drama that took place between Hailey, Selena, and Kylie, and seemingly axed Hailey's relationship with Kylie, but that doesn't stop it from making today's list. Back in February, there was a whole debate over whether Kylie was shading Selena with Hailey over a laminated eyebrow TikTok joke that swept the internet. Fans who were divided down the middle claimed Selena's alleged Bella Hadid shade warranted the drama, versus others who felt Kylie and Hailey were bullying the singing actress. But things spiraled further when Kylie took to Instagram to rumoredly amp up the beef, posting 2 photos of her brows that fans assumed were the nail in the coffin. Then came Selena's short-lived social media break not long after. However, it seems all parties have since gone back to their respective lives.